Heidi ho, everybody! Welcome to my Maxcellent tutorials. This time we're going to talk about labels, and titles, and how to make them look better. And guess what? I don't have a title. Great time to review how to squeeze one up above when you don't have any blank rows. That's easy. You just right click on the column heading. So I just clicked my right mouse button on the number 1 and I can go to insert. Now I'm going to type a title here and I'm going to call that title Speed of Mammals. Oops, I spelled it wrong. Speed of Mammals. So there's my title. It's not very prominent though, and that's one of the things I want you to work on. First of all, it would look much more attractive if we could see it over our columns. And that's what Margin Center is made for. Now, I could just highlight A and B in Margin Center, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because now it looks like it's only a title for these two columns. Well, let me undo that. I could just highlight a lot of these. I even went off the screen and highlighted and do Margin Center. And so now it's centered, but it still doesn't look so hot. So my rule of thumb that I want you to follow, and you should follow it because I'm the one that grades you, is to highlight each cell of all columns that have data. In this spreadsheet, A, B, C, and D have data. There's no data in E, F, etc. So I'm only going to highlight A1, B1, C1, D1. If I had data all the way through column F, then I would highlight all the way through column F, but I don't. So I'm only going to highlight A1, B1, C1, D1. Then I'm going to click Margin Center. Ta-da! So it's a better looking title now. I still think it can be more prominent. So the other recommendations I make, and remember, the person that grades you is talking, is to make the title bigger. I also like a little bold. Now I'm pretty happy. So that looks good. Looks better than before. It stands out more. We can tell it's a title. Before we couldn't tell it was a title. Similarly, with labels, since these are labels and they really define the data around them, you want them to look different. It should look different than the data. The easiest way to do that is to click bold. That's basically all I want you to do, but I do want you to do it. I want labels to be bold. Occasionally when you do that, you might find that by making it bold, it might a little bit cut off the label. So make sure if that ever happens, if you ever make something bold and you can't see the whole thing, make sure you're resizing the column so you can see the label in its entirety. So this looks pretty good now. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom because if you'll recall, these are also labels, and they're labels because again they explain the data around them. So we're going to make this bold, and usually that's all I do. However, since they're like hanging over here way on the left and the important data they're representing is over here, I'm going to put these ones on the right. That makes it a little more clearer that these are kind of highlighting numbers that are a little bit different than the rest of the numbers because these numbers here are basically summary type numbers. I made them bigger just now because it looked like they were different fonts. Don't those look different fonts? Let's see. Let me play with the fonts a little bit here. Okay, I'm just gonna go. I think the default is Calibri. So they look pretty consistent now. And that's what I want you doing with title and labels. Actually, that's not all I want you doing. In this particular spreadsheet, you're going to use some shading. So I'm going to go back to the top. I'm going to highlight these 4 cells. Those are 4 of my labels. And then I want that to be similar with this data. So I'm going to hold my control key and highlight this. I now have 2 different sections of the spreadsheet highlighted. And I did that by highlighting the one section, then holding down the control key on my keyboard, Oops. So hold down Control and highlight your other section. Now that I have them highlighted, any changes I make affect both segments of highlighting. I am now going to shade this. Shading is super easy in Excel. In fact, it's so easy, it is often way overused. Okay, so I could choose this, but I'm here to tell you that it's not a good choice because this is a color that I would call a screaming color. It screams too much. In fact, it hurts my eyes a little bit. A piece of advice: you don't want to hurt the eyes of the person who is grading your work. Not a good idea. So I'm going to re-highlight those and make a different decision. So someone might want to make the decision of going to more colors and maybe choosing that. That is an equally bad, if not worse, choice because that is an example of another screaming color. Please do not scream your colors at me. Let me show you a more sensible choice. All of these here, which are kind of subtle and soft, some might even call boring, are much better choices. I am feeling kind of purpley right now, so I'm going to choose this purple. So it's still pretty, but it's softer, it's not screaming, and it's not going to hurt my eyes. That will keep me happy when I grade you. So this is looking a whole lot better. I'm even going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole thing from afar. So you can see that it's easy to tell where some of my informative labels are in data. The next thing I want to show you, I'm not going to show you right now. I'm going to make you wait. But those are good things to do for labels and titles. And I hope you learned a lesson about how to choose colors in Excel. You will hear more of that in our next segment. I'm very excited. I hope you are too.